many of them Spanish speakers. Yeah, and often they attend dual language programs up to either 5th grade or some to 8th grade here. But when they go to high school, they aren't able to continue studying Spanish because there aren't appropriate classes at the high school level for kids who already speak Spanish at home. And what can we do to change our high school curriculum to accommodate these kids with this great special skill?
Yeah, so it's a great skill. Quiero agradecer a todos los que estén presentes, que son bilingües, que hablen más de un idioma, especialmente los que hablan español. Muchísimas gracias por estar aquí. Es una pregunta que es muy útil para nosotros. Now, for those of you that don't speak Spanish, I said, thanks for being here. Just kidding. Look, this is a real benefit to us here in New York City, given the number of students. And by the way, I've stopped referring to English language learners as English language learners. I call them developing bilingual students, because they already come with half of the other language. They're bilingual students. They just need to have the other language. So we believe in dual language. We believe in bilingual programs in New York City. I'm very proud of the fact that this year, I was very excited to be able to announce that we were adding 46 new dual language programs across the city. And there's a greater need for dual language. There are lots of people that want dual language programs across the city. So we're working to make sure that we implement dual language in a very robust way. But as the question actually identified, you have to look at bilingual and dual, especially dual language programs, not myopically. And Mr. Guzman is here, he's nodding his head. Look, if you have a dual language program at an elementary school level, you have to be able to think about what happens when those students transition into the middle grades, and do they have an opportunity to continue with that language and that language skill that they've developed. And then you have to be able to look, because we don't have a true feeder pattern in New York City's public schools, we have choice. So at the middle school, students get to make lots of choices about where they go. You have to be able to identify schools that have the ability to continue language programs, so that part of that choice portfolio for a student that wants to stay in a language program is that they know where they can go and continue to receive that kind of a language experience. Now, I was one of those students that grew up speaking Spanish. My parents, when my brother and I entered kindergarten, we only spoke Spanish. So we were one of those English language learners, developing bilinguals. But when I went into high school, and I never studied Spanish until I got to high school. And then when I went to high school, and the Spanish class, because I was in beginning Spanish, it was, el color es azul. Aquí está el baño, right? And I'm like, pero ¿qué están diciendo? Yo quiero decir más que eso, y que me, right? So there is Spanish for native speakers, which most of us native speakers can speak till the cows come home, but we don't necessarily know all of the grammar, we don't necessarily know all of the cardinal numbers. So there is, believe it or not, very, very articulated curricula for native speakers that perhaps don't have the formal training. And I was fortunate to, in college, get that kind of an assistance. So we understand that it's not monolithic in terms of how you create those language programs, but it is multifaceted, it's multivariate. And what we're looking to do now is, most people want more. What we've done is we've said, yes, it's important where there's a real need and there's a real desire, but what we want to now is take a pause and go deeper. So start connecting those dual language programs to articulated programs in middle schools, so that we have middle programs. Then we want to make sure that we are offering the AP Spanish programs or the AP language programs in the high schools. One of the things that I'm really, really excited about our new contract with the United Federation of Teachers, right, the UFT, is that, yeah, all right. But one of the things that I'm really excited about is that we've agreed on a pilot program for remote teaching, or they call it blended learning. And it's very simply this. While we may not have enough AP calculus teachers to have AP calculus in every high school across the system, or we may not have AP Spanish teachers to fill every single high school in the system, we do know that there are some phenomenal teachers. And as we build our capacity to have those teachers in those schools, we are now going to be able to have one of those teachers and use technology to have that teacher be able to teach in 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 different schools by just being able to broadcast and have an interactive way of learning. I know that a lot of people have had that experience, and if you haven't had that experience, it's just as rigorous. But it's the ability for us to be able to do that so our students aren't missing out on that opportunity while we're building our capacity to put those teachers in place as well. So there's a lot of exciting stuff that's happening. I'm not even going to get into the methodology unless I get another question about it, but there's also the issue of the articulation that I've talked about, but also the issue of the quality of the program and being really, really clear about how we serve all students in a dual language program. But make sure that this isn't forgotten. I, as a chancellor, and we as an organization are very committed to not only continuing, but to expand and improve our dual language and bilingual programs.